Good evening. I would like to take this opportunity to welcome you to the public hearing to adopt tentative millage and budget meeting this Tuesday, July 30th, 2024. Legal requirement, Florida Statute 200, prior to adoption of any measures by the governing body. The governing body shall adopt its tentative or final millage rate prior to adopting its tentative or final budget. If we could please stand for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Statement regarding the 2024 proposed millage and 2024-2025 tentative budget. On July 23rd, 2024, the board authorized to advertise the 2024 proposed millage rates and 2024-25 tentative budget. The notice of proposed tax increase, budget summary, and capital outlay notice were duly advertised on the district's and Sarasota County's publicly accessible websites beginning July 27th, 2024. The Sarasota County School Board's 2024 taxable assessed property values represent a 5.8% increase from the 2023 certified tax value. The 2024 proposed required local effort millage rate of 2.883 mills represents an 1.28% increase from last year's rolled back millage rate. The total 2024 proposed millage rate represents a 2.18% increase from last year's rolled back millage rate. The required local effort millage rate must be levied by the school board if the district is to participate and receive any Florida Education Finance Program, FEFP, funds in fiscal year 2024-2025. The operating millage is required to hire staff for the school district, pay negotiated salary and fringe benefits to staff, the cost of fuel, electricity, and other goods and services. We're now moving to the public hearing regarding the proposed 2024 millage rate and tentative budget. This is open to the public for the board to hear your comments regarding the tentative millage rates and answer questions related to those. And I have two cards, requests for public comment on this subject. And first off is Ronna Bazzini, please.
I think good evening, everybody. My name is Ronna Bazzini, and I am a resident of Sarasota. I think the overall budget that you're proposing, it seems as rational as we're able to, but I would like to address something in general as far as funding is concerned. A lot of the things come from Tallahassee, and we know that your individual hands are tied depending on what Tallahassee decides to do. I understand we do have a lobbyist, and it seems to me that we need to have our voice heard in Tallahassee. So I think it behooves us to make sure that we give direction to our lobbyist to speak for us regarding where funding are coming from. We know they passed HB1 last year, and I think had we given our lobbyist a little more direction, we might have had a greater voice in turning that down or other things that they're liable to propose. So I'm just suggesting then to have our voice heard in Tallahassee, especially where funding is concerned, that we employ our lobbyists to a greater degree. Thank you.
Thank you. Carol Lerner, please.
Good evening, Board, Mr. Connor. I spent about a day reading the budget, and I actually find the budget book very interesting and very revealing. And as Rana said, my conclusion was that we basically have a Tallahassee problem, not so much a Sarasota problem. There were a couple things that really stood out to me. Again, as Rana said, the vouchers, more explicitly the universal education savings accounts that we have as a result of HB1. It was interesting that in the budget, this is a direct quote, despite the increase of 2.46% in projected student FTE, that's full-time equivalent, the state FEFP, that's the agency that actually distributes the funding, is relative flat compared to 2023-24, which is attributed to the increase in students using the Family Empowerment Scholarship. It practically doubled from last year. And I know it doesn't directly come out of the budget, but if that funding had been put into the district schools, our budget would be in a lot healthier shape. Secondly, there was a chart on page 39 of the budget book that showed that if the current $9,966 per student funding had kept up with inflation, that funding would be $14,699, 32% higher than what we have. With that amount of money, which would come to about $227.4 million, we could give the staff a 30% salary increase, and we still would have had over $100 million left to improve programming, to expand preschools, and such. Again, that's a Tallahassee problem. Tallahassee has actually been starving the public schools, defunding, or in this case, not funding to keep up with inflation. The third part that concerns me, that's not so much of a Tallahassee problem, but we do have a decrease in the number of students in the public schools. It's not a big decrease, but it's a decrease, and I really worry about that. Given that there is a growing decline in the birth rate and the increased privatized options and the high cost of living here in Sarasota, I think that's going to be an issue, and I just hope we don't get like Broward County and Duval County, where they're actually closing schools. Thank you.
Is there anyone else that would like to have any input on this budget or millage? Seeing none, we'll move on to item number 3, that the following millage rates be adopted as presented. Do I have a motion?
Yes, Madam Chair, excuse me. I move that we adopt the 2024 proposed millage rates, the required local effort at 2.883, basic discretionary at 0.748, capital outlay at 1.500, voted operating referendum 1.000, and the total millage at 6.131.
Second.
There is a motion and a second. Seeing no questions or comments, we're going to do a voice vote in that we have Board Member Enos on the line. Is that correct? So we will.
Yep.
Thank you. Seeing no questions or comments, we will start with Mr. Edwards. If you could please vote.
Yes.
Mrs. Ziegler?
Yes.
Mr. Enos?
Yes.
Ms. Marinelli? Yes. And the chair votes yes. And item number 3, the millage rates, as stated, will be adopted unanimously. Moving on to item number 4, that the 2024-2025 fiscal year tentative budget be adopted as presented. Do I have a motion?
Yes, Madam Chair, I move that the board adopt the 2024-2025 fiscal year tentative budget as presented.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Thank you. Seeing no questions, Mrs. Ziegler, please.
I just want to make a quick comment. This is the first budget I've supported in quite some time for a variety of different reasons, and it's never been about the hard work staff has done and continues to do. But I think it reiterates where the confidence I have in our leadership, the direction we're going, keeping out things that really where I thought in the past were kind of putting us off track. I think the results of our scores really speak for themselves, and just want to thank staff for your hard work day in and day out, and looking forward to the next year.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second, and seeing no other comments or questions, we're going to take a voice vote. Mr. Edwards, please.
Yes.
Mrs. Ziegler?
Yes.
Mr. Enos?
Yes.
Ms. Marinelli? Yes. And the chair votes yes, and the 2024-25 fiscal year tentative budget as presented passes unanimously. The next regular board meeting is scheduled for Tuesday, August 6th at 6:00 p.m. And the final public hearing will be held Tuesday, September 17th, 2024 at 5:15 p.m. at 1980 Landings Boulevard, Sarasota, Florida. If we have no other comments, we are adjourned, and thank you all very much.